What's up, everybody? Bastiaan Koch here. Totally impromptu video. I just got back from a Tony Robbins event in San Jose. Unleash the power within. Now, before you think I've joined a cult, I went in extremely skeptical, and I came out not even knowing who went in. I don't even recognize the old me. It was really quite incredible. Initially, I went in thinking, oh, I'm not going to really share this with anyone or talk about it, but it had such a profound impact, and I saw it impacting so many other people. I wanted to immediately challenge myself to put something out there and give back in some way. So this is completely unscripted. So as you know, as many of you know, I've worked in the VFX industry for almost 14 years, 10 of which were with Lucasfilm, Industrial Light and Magic. It was an absolute dream to work there and get in. Something I thought I might achieve on my deathbed, you know, for something that existed and was, you know, reserved for the grandmasters of this world. And I got in at the age of 21, and to be honest, I had a bit of a midlife crisis because I hadn't set goals beyond that. Now, that's not what this video is about today, but what I did want to talk about is getting your first step into the VFX industry. VFX is huge now. They didn't really have courses in my day. There were courses, but there weren't like university programs. Now they're spitting out more students than ever before, perhaps more than there's jobs worth. So you got to be really, really, really good to get in. You can't just be good. You can't just be a technician. You have to have some kind of special quality. And that's also what we're not going to talk about today. I want to talk about the base entry level skills and some tips. So I just want to give 3 tips today because I get asked these questions all the time because I have a ton of interns, and I also have about 15 collaborators that are in the industry or employees for me. But one of the things I love to do as part of my job is to be a great team leader for my team, a great collaborator, and just do right by everyone else. So one of the thoughts that came, I was swimming in the morning. I try and swim in the bay every morning to kind of get my, kickstart my life, kickstart my mind, which really helps. And today I was thinking about, what comes first? Is the leadership pulling your team, or is the team driving the leader? I don't really like to use the word leader because film is such a collaborative effort. And I found that I love to let the team drive me. And I do that by empowering them with a voice. A lot of companies out there don't empower their employees with a voice. And they put them in very, very small little pigeonholes, tiny little pigeonholes. Oh, that is your job description, and don't you dare step outside of those boundaries. That's ridiculous. We don't do that at Marauder. It's completely different. It's my responsibility to make sure that they have the tools they have, but I like to empower my team to drive me. So it can go either or. That's just a random thought here. But what I often get asked is, can you look at my reel? Can you look at my reel? And it's a great, first of all, I'm like, it's great you have a reel, well done. So congrats on you for having a reel. Moving images. You want to be in the moving images industry, right? People forget that. They think they're a technician, and they just make pretty stills, but that isn't the case. You're in the moving images industry, and your reel should reflect that. So what happens is I often look at a reel, fantastic work, Um, in fact, it looks so photoreal, it looks like a photo. And the show reel goes from photo to photo to photo to photo, stills. And I'm like, well, this is great, but what about a moving camera? What about a little dolly on that, a little push-in or a little, crane or something, even if it's a still life? A lot of the students nowadays, they're doing these grapes. I've seen these grapes a lot recently. And they even have like some dew and that transparent, beautiful transparency subsurface on the surface of the grape. The grape is actually a highly complex thing to do in CGI. And I'm like, why is there no movement on this? There's absolutely no guarantee from the employer's perspective. There's no evidence from the employer's perspective that you can render anything. And how much Photoshop went on that image, how much was retouched. I need to see the proof. So I always tell the students, make it easy for them to see what you really did. Show them the final piece, the final product. Make sure there's movement on the shot. Not too much movement because you don't want to put them off, because too much camera movement, as we see in movies nowadays, often draws far too much attention to the fact that it is CGI. Subtle movements, traditional camera movements, when cameras used to weigh, 20 tons, they couldn't do big camera movements. And that's why when a camera's going, we kind of immediately get disenfranchised and all the reality gets thrown out and we get thrown out of the story and we start to question and we're like, oh, the film's no good, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so lesson number 1, put a little bit of movement on that beautiful, beautiful CGI shot you made. That's lesson 1. Lesson 2 is more of a financial wealth one. And it's a mistake that everyone makes, not only entry-level CGI people, but, people my age. I'm not even that old. I'm 35. I know guys who 45 are still doing this. And I'm like, they're like, oh, I can't get by. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. And you work at one of the greatest companies on planet Earth. And I'm like, how the effing F, beep, 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 are you living paycheck by paycheck as one of the best artists in the world? Okay, well, what they've done their whole life is they go into a job and they say, and the recruiter says, hey, how much do you charge per hour? And they say, 35. And it's done. Because the second you say a number, it's never going to be above that number. So a little tiny lesson, and I actually had to bestow, I say with humility, bestow this little piece of very valuable information that my father passed on to me when I was a kid, is the person that says a number first loses, okay? They don't really lose, you just don't get more. And you might be worth more because you don't know what the other side is going to say. So if you go into a new job, it might be your first job, it might be your 4th job, it doesn't matter. Let them, they know this trick, they know this game. And they love the fact that you don't know this because they know they're going to win. Knowledge is power. They're going to basically just say, they're just going to make you say a number. And that's what a lot of HR people are about. They're the gatekeepers, one, and they're also just to make you say, number first, and then you say the number, and then there you have it. That's the number. But you don't know what they were thinking. They might be thinking, he's not worth 35 an hour. This guy's definitely worth at least up to 45 an hour. But you said 35. And that may have a very real knock-on effect for the rest of your career, especially if you stay at the same company. Think about that, because a lot of people do. They're fantastic talent. They get recruited straight out of Nomon, Animation Mentor, you name it. They don't, in many cases, they don't even know their own worth. And bam, they say 35. And guess what? 5 years later, 10 years later, where are they at? Not nowhere. Nowhere good. Nowhere that's going to really empower them to do things what they might want to do later in life, which is not just, you know, churn out work for the man, which is fine, but you might want to empower other people as well. With if you can create a bit more money, you can actually help other people. So that's lesson number 2. I don't even have a lesson number 3. I was going to make it up on the fly, but I haven't thought of one, so I'm going to try and think of one right now. Checking your work. Let's just go with that. Let's just go with that. Okay, you're new to the industry. You've been working in the, you've been working. Perhaps you have a university degree. Okay, so you've done your university degree and you're kind of handheld by your tutors. But you have to understand that when you're part of a university, you are a client. Now, you think you're a student. You're like, oh, I'm a student, and I'm learning, and I'm blah, blah, blah. But actually, what you must realize is that to you, from the teacher's perspective, you are a client, and they are not going to treat you the way the employer will, or not the way the clients that you're going to be working in the future with. It's going to be a completely different game, completely different. So I could distill that could be many levels. That could be hundreds of levels of different lessons right there. But the main one there is check your work, check the naming, check your frames. Are they any good? This happened to me today with someone I'm working with. He delivered an entire shot we've been working on for weeks. The lighter passed it on to the comper. The comper says, there's missing frames here. The names are all screwy. Nothing makes sense. It doesn't line up with the original plate. What's going on? Didn't even bother to check his frames. I encountered this at every level. The lowest level, the highest level. You'd be amazed. Management of your CGI is very technical, okay? At the end, it all comes down to art and artistic vision, and you know, a lot we could go deep into that all day. But in the end, there's a lot of pressing the right button in the right order, okay? Anyone can be taught that. And that might be a fourth lesson here, like unexpectedly. I just lost my trail of thought. Anyway, that's going to happen, you know. I'm not Tony Robbins. You know, I haven't trained this for 41 years. So I lost my trail of thought. That's totally fine, because you got 3 lessons right there. Maybe even 4, but I didn't finish the thought. So screw it. I don't care. I'm not going to edit this stupid video. I hope there's some value in there. Please share it with anyone who is doing CGI, who is in VFX, who wants to do film, who is doing film with VFX in it, is a student, or is thinking about CGI animation. These are 3 seemingly very simple life lessons. They're not really career-oriented or CG-oriented. These are absolute life lessons that I wanted to share and give back. Tell me what you think. I don't know if it's useful. I'm just a guy talking. Check out my film I'm working on. It's at www.facebook.com/isthisheavenmovie. Is This Heaven Movie. It's awesome. Awesome. Totally. Okay. Let me know what you guys want to know about CGI, VFX, my 10 years at Lucasfilm. You let me know. I've been lucky enough to touch all sorts of things in this industry. I got to work on BB-8 in Star Wars, Gypsy Danger in Pacific Rim, Bumblebee for Transformers 2, 3, 4, 5, and the new one coming out, you name it. I got to work on him extensively, and in many cases contribute as a designer. And most recently, I took a little hiatus from my company to work on Ready Player One, and I got to design and model Daito for Ready Player One. It's coming out next week. Don't miss it. I'm so proud of this work. I went back to Lucasfilm just for a few weeks, to help out on it. And I also inadvertently did the new Bumblebee movie, got to do some of the bad guys as well. It was really, really special. And it's always fun to work with new directors and new original IP, not always sequels. That we could talk about another time, because, you know, you should be selective about where you want to work. You should be, if you're good, because it's going to affect the kind of work you do, and perhaps even how you define yourself as an artist later on. That's a whole other topic. This is an amazing experience for me because it's my first video, just talking. I actually wanted to do this tomorrow. I was like, why do it tomorrow? I can do it right now, spur of the moment. And I'd love to talk about that as well, which is more on the career side. But yeah, stay frosty. Bye.